I would like to start from the end of this little conversation with us. So I know that in the last week you performed in New York City, first of all at the Jimmy Fallon show, and then at the Central Park Summer Stage. One of the few reggae artists who perform in these two situations. So first of all, congratulations for your achievements, and then how was the feeling?
Blessed night to everybody. For me, is all of these things is an opportunity to represent my culture, as a Jamaican, first of all, as an African, as a youth from out of the Caribbean, making reggae music. Our culture is very rich, as far as I know. Like, our years as a quote-unquote independent country is only 52 years, and within that 52 years time span, we have managed to develop a very rich and meaningful culture. As you can see now, there are festivals around the world that, you have the red, green and gold everywhere, which is our legacy as Rasta and Africans from, from ancient times. So it is with great pride that myself, and my team and the bands in French Redemption, it is with great pride and honor that I step forward and represent this music, And when you represent something as great and meaningful and as rich as this reggae music and the Jamaican musical culture, the possibilities are endless, because it is music made by Jamaicans for the world, So it's always a great pleasure, and I overstand from a youth growing up and witnessing, the making of great music. We really overstand from a youth that there is no limit to how far you can go doing reggae music, Yeah.
Thank you. And since you turned the conversation into culture, I'd like to continue that way. You're identified as the leader of the so-called reggae revival movement, no? A lot of artists are part of the reggae revival movement, like for example, Janine, Jesse Royale, Kabaka, Pyramid, Protege. So your music and the music of all these artists have a very strong Rasta identity. So in which way Rastafari inspires your music?
First, I could give thanks and praise to all of the artists who making good music right now. Not just myself and Protege and Janine and Kabaka. We know them. Not only us, but across the world, and even those within Jamaica who don't get mentioned most of the times. Then we have to big up people like Dirty Bookman, who is the person who coined the whole term reggae revival, which I believe, was a term arrived upon by Dirty Bookman based on his experience with the music and his relationship with Protege as in brethren, So, and people will find other words for it every time, Like, whenever this happens again within the cycle of music, they will find the next word. I think the word is not as important as we make it. The term reggae revival or whichever other term you may want to use. And it is also not as direct as it should be to use the word reggae revival to identify the artists. Because when you check it, the music from an artistic perspective, there is no revival. The revival lies within the people who are now awakening from, decades and centuries and aeons long of slumber and sleep. So you have people now awakening, and that is the revival. Because the music has always been there. There was never a holiday or a break or a rest period within the creation of reggae music. Never. There was always bands as The musicians will tell you, as people who go music school, they are always young, vibrant people playing reggae music, always. You know, when it wasn't Chronixx, it was Warrior King. You know what I mean? It was Sizzla, it was Fantan Moja, it was Jackie, it was Jamaican. You know, always putting out good albums, making good music, and creating waves across the world. But what happening now, you have people who are awakening, you know, and that's a conscious thing that we as artists almost don't have. We don't have as much to do with it as people place upon us, you know what I mean? So we have to give thanks to the whole elements and the universe and the creator, and, you know what I mean? We have to just give thanks, you know what I mean? That we are alive and doing music at this point in time and can inherit. It's just like growing up and we hear the fairy tale of, you know what I mean, the sword stuck in the rock and so many people come and pull it, and the more people pull it, the more it loose. But somebody will come and dry it out. You know what I mean? But then now it is not as direct and not as thankful as it should be to give all praises to the man who really pull it up, because there was a man come before him and loosen it a little, and the next one before him and the next one before him, that made pulling that sword out of the rock much easier for that man who actually did it. You know what I mean? So we give thanks and praise, you know what I mean? Really and truly what's happening now is just the ones them, you know, everybody who, you know what I mean, a lot of people who would walk past me with their cameras are now turning their cameras because they find what we do interesting. It's not like we just start doing it. We've always been doing it, but it's just that now the people who are actually holding the cameras and, you know what I mean, keeping the events and having the festivals are now inviting us. And they are now interested in what we are doing, and that is a consciousness issue. That is not an issue, that is not even a musical thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So let's talk about music. Last April, you released the Dread and Terrible EP, or project as you prefer to call it. And I think there is a very nice concept in this EP, and it is well explained by the title, Dread and Terrible. Would you like to talk us about the concept behind this title?
Yeah, well, you know, in the light of the same the whole consciousness we're going, you know, youths are now craving for, you know what I mean, the story. Youths are actually craving for words that is not just uplifting for their spirits, but also is also knowledge and overstanding, you know, of a culture that was almost taken away from them. You know what I mean? It is overstanding of this. A lot of youths like myself who are, you know what I mean, young Rastafari youths, you know what I mean? Like we crave for music and just for words that can tell us of our history, where we're coming from, so that we can have a greater appreciation. You know what I mean? And where Rasta is really coming from is a place of ostracism. We're coming from a place of criticism, a place of prejudice, you know what I mean, social inequality and all of them things. And we have fought, strummed, danced, and sung our way to this beautiful future, you know what I mean? And now that we are here, we have to still keep the story alive, and that's where the whole Dread and Terrible concept come from. Dread and Terrible is just reminding the youths of what Rastafari was really perceived as in the past, as opposed to what we are now, you know what I mean? And the songs on it, you know, they have a lot of story within it, you know what I mean? From the first track, Alpha and Omega, you know, it speaks about, you know what I mean, political injustice against the Rastafari community for years and decades. You know what I mean? It speaks about Coral Girl, you know what I mean? And then we speak about Capture Land, you know what I mean? In the light of the whole Pinnacle situation. You know what I mean? We speak about Eternal Fire that addresses even our national dish and where it really originated from. You know what I mean? We have music like Spirulina, which speaks about the health side of Rastafari, which is one of our greatest contributions to humanity. Outside of music and our spiritual messages that we have, issued through word, sound, our contribution to humanity through health and fitness, and not just physical but spiritual and mental health. Let your food be a medicine and let your medicine be a food. All of those is a part of the story of Rastafari, and that's where that's the whole concept of the Videointerview project. And even though it's a project that I did, and Zing Fence and the whole Chronixx music group, even though it's a project that we put together, the true meaning of it is still yet to be revealed unto us, because it's a untimely music. It's not a thing that is for now or for tomorrow or for yesterday. Only time will tell the true meaning behind the Videointerview project. Eternal.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the floor is open to all the other journalists. Please, just propose yourself.
Everybody nervous.
Lawrence from African Life. My question to you, Chronixx. So we've had quite a few occasions, lots of interaction before. But what I'd like to know, you've had time on the road, you've been on tour, and throughout your travels, you as an individual, as an artist, and particularly as a Jamaican, what is your perspective or take on what the outside world actually perceives Jamaica to be, and do Jamaicans themselves realize that this little island is actually under the spotlight of where this music genre reggae has come from? Are Jamaicans aware that the world has its eyes on them?
Well, I think they're aware, but what happened is that now I think we could be a little bit more I don't know the right word, but we don't act on it properly. We know that our culture is very valuable, but we don't act. We don't act based on that knowledge. It's like we just know and just don't do nothing. That's why you have knowledge and then you have wisdom. Because a lot of us know. I think all of us know. Because we see it on our televisions every day. And from sports to our food to our culture, our dance, our dressing, everything. It is the world is impacted by it and we know it. That's why Jamaicans stay so, they're very, they're very proud of who they are. But we don't really act based on it. So you find that people now take our culture and just move forward with it. Which is no crime. Because it's just a law of the universe. Wherever there's a void, the void is going to be filled, and there's a void with the leadership of our culture. So somebody, someone, some entity, some country, somebody has to fill it. So, what happened is a lot of people think Jamaica is big bottom girl and big spliff and, people just say Rasta is just some people who smoke weed and get high and Rastafari and that's it. But the culture is much more meaningful than that. And it is out of very depressing situations that even these terms and these way of lives came about. It is on the heels of slavery and injustice that Rastafari as a spirituality, arose within the Jamaican culture. The music is the same, and even the dancehall culture, it is out of very depressing situations that the dancehall was introduced to the Jamaican population. So without knowing all of those troubles, and as I say, you have a lot of people who they know that it is very, is a very strong thing across the world, but then some of them don't know where it's coming from. So what happened now, Them just jump on the big carnival and now say, alright, Guineas and batty ride and ganja spliff and gun and violence and shatter and gunman thing. You know what I mean? Because they find out that there's a market for it and they find out that it is generating a lot of, it is bringing a lot of economic and traffic. So people just jump on it and a lot of them succeed at it. They abuse the culture and they make a lot of money. So, So it's just the ones it's just the faithful few who just really have a special love for the culture and respect the culture. And as I said, the law of the universe, Wherever there is black, there is white, and in between that there are a million different shades and tints of black and white. So they will always have the good, the bad, and the ugly, Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Next one, please.
So you just recently performed in New York on primetime television, which was quite a big deal for Jamaica, and there's a lot of support for you. What do you see as you reach a lot of big goals this year? You've been traveling around Europe, many festivals, you play on national TV in the US. What do you see as Chronixx's vision next? Do you have any, does Chronixx has goals for the next year or two? Where do you see yourself going after this?
Well, first, before I look in the future, which I doubt I can do right now, let me just say that I'm not very proud of the fact that you have to go on primetime TV in the US for it to be a big deal to Jamaicans or people of the world in general. Talent is talent. You know what I mean? Talent in the past, same as talent in the future. You know what I mean? Talent on local Jamaican TV is the same as talent on Jimmy Fallon. There's no difference within the talent. Now, as I say, wherever there's a void, it is going to be filled. So if you don't want to put me on primetime TV, then Jimmy Fallon will. You know what I mean? That's sad, but it's just the truth. You know what I mean? So if we as Africans and as Jamaican youths and as Caribbean youths, you know what I mean? And I must applaud the Europeans, because there's one thing I admire with European people, like if you go in Jamaica and ask about Patrice, nobody in Jamaica knows Patrice. They'll ask us which girl names, you know what I mean? But you can see where his music is getting full support from his local people. If you go to Jamaica and ask who is Pitbull, you know what I mean, who is, you can ask about a lot of people. Nobody knows who is Pitbull in Jamaica, but he is big across the whole Hispanic community, across the world, because they embrace their local people, and you know what I mean. Now, on the flip side, Caribbean people, if they don't go on BET or some form of American TV, then trust me, if I was on the biggest TV show in London, probably Jamaicans wouldn't even recognize me. You know what I mean? If I perform on a European festival that has 200,000 people, it's not really a big deal. But you know what I mean? If I come on BET, 106 and Park, it's just a big thing. Jimmy Fallon, NBC, big thing. You know what I mean? So it's just now we have to learn how to. That's why, you know, as an artist, I try my best to hide away from sensationalism, hide away from the celebrity thing, because that kind of it detours people from talent. So now you're looking at Chronixx, the great act, and not Chronixx, the great talent. You know what I mean? Now, every time a person interview you, is going to ask about Jimmy Fallon because it was on primetime TV, national TV. You know what I mean? Rather than you know what I mean, trying to find out who is Chronixx, the musician, you know what I mean? What do you represent? What's the cultural representation behind Chronixx, the brand, and behind Chronixx, the act, you know what I mean? So we have to learn how to identify talent first, just to ensure that whenever the person actually gets there, our culture is being represented properly. You know what I mean? Both within speech, both within the music, both within just the way the person governs themselves. You know what I mean? So, and where do I see myself going from here? That it makes life a little less exciting too. You know? I look in the future, but in the near future, I can't tell you about tomorrow and the day after that. You know, but 3 months, 5 years, who knows? You know? Yeah.
Okay, so you are the top head of this new generation roots revival artists, and also like Kabaka, Protege, Dreelle. Why do you think there was a big break to the last roots artists like Chuck Fender, which is by Shakira, from the time, the last 10 years? There were no roots, new roots artists.
Which break? I don't remember the break. When? Because Chuck Fender was which year?
Yeah, around.
Well, not even was. Why are we talking in past tense? I mean,
the big time for the
Jamaica and Shakira. First of all, Shakira has at least 3 worldwide reggae hits right now. At least 3 big hits. You know what I mean? And every chart that there is Chronixx, there is Shakira, there is Pressure, there is Asizla Kalanje, there is, you know, it's just that you can't have one artist at number 1 all the times. So when Chronixx drop go number 12, then you'll have Dre Island. And when Dre Island drop go number 12, there is Just Ral, then Janner, then Kelly Sa, then Keznam, then Pentatouche, then Raging Fire. Then there is going to always be somebody to fill that void. Because you can't have nobody at number 1. Somebody has to be there. You know what I mean? So I can't, like, living in Jamaica, I can never remember a time when there wasn't a top reggae artist who is doing the greatest things within the music. You know what I mean? There was always somebody, Chuck Fender, you know, you have Jamaican, you have Chesedek, you know. And it was always like this. I can't remember a time when, you know what I mean, you have the Marleys, you have Morgan Heritage. There's just always, and there's always a top reggae juggling rhythm, a top reggae single, a top reggae cover. There's just always top reggae music every time. You know, so it's kind of shocking to me, you know, to hear that there was a pause, because I didn't even see it. You know what I mean? It's just now, I knew for sure that there was a pause within the acceptance of this music, because our culture is not really as respected as it should be. Because first of all, Katy Perry sings I Kissed a Girl and I Like It, and it play on every mainstream Jamaican radio. See? But the opposition that we as reggae artists has received for expressing our morals and our cultural values, it is just marvelous to see how the world treats a Jamaican artist for expressing itself. And remember, this is the same world that preaches freedom of speech, that preaches equal rights for this man and that man and that man. Now when one man come and say, well, this is how I feel, then whenever he is to perform in Cologne, then the city says no. So that, I think that is the only pause within reggae. There, nobody never stopped making music. Cape Town was, for the last 10 years, 15 years, has always been a top reggae artist. Always. You know what I mean? Sizzla Kalanje for the past 15 years is being played on the radio at least 5 times per day on each station. Because you have a ton load of songs, you know what I mean? And there are a lot of good historical hits within his catalog that will never stop getting played. You know what I mean? So, we know we have to understand, say, this music is a very rich music and there's a lot to it. We have to now make sure, say, alright, as organizers of festivals and of events, if you're going to represent Jamaican, you have to represent them. You can't represent them half and half. So if there's a ban on a reggae artist, if you don't feel that he should be banned for what he does, you as a European national have to lobby with we, because we help to bring economical traffic to your country, tourism and everything to your country. So, and even the Jamaican government to stand by our side, because really and truly, you know, I am the end product of my upbringing. I am what my parents taught me. So now if I go out there and say, alright, Hail King Selassie, is what I learned as a child growing up. You know what I mean? So if you now don't like that, then you have to also consider my upbringing. Just like how within your culture, as Europeans, I can't come over here and walk in a rock festival where them and do everything where them want to do and tell them that them can't do it. As a matter of fact, what they smoke in rock venues is a lot more toxic to the human body than what we smoke at reggae festivals. See? So, you can't put a ban on my culture, my morals, my way of life. See, now when they put a ban on the artist, all they do is just book an next artist who more polished and who more, you know, censored and who more clean. You know, but that does no good for the culture, because who lobbies for Cape Town? You know what I mean? There's a man out there with a banner waving for the next guy, saying, yo, we want justice for this guy. Now who is saying we want justice for Cape Town? And we want justice for Sizzler? You know what I mean? Aren't we the same people who are booking them? And aren't they the same people who are filling our venues? Bringing a lot of economical, traffic and cultural value to our countries. You know what I mean? So, I think that is the only pause I witnessed. The silencing of reggae artists. Yeah.
Do you think there are a lot of new reggae artists coming out in the next years?
We have very little time.
Yeah, I mean, tons. There are a lot of reggae artists right now. You can't, all of them can't fit on OverJam. That take like next 10 years to put all of them on the festival, you know, a lot. Yeah man, tons, millions from all over the world.
And who are in the past, who are the artists you get influenced by?
Well,
what are your favorite artists, Jamaican artists?
Trust me, as I said, there are so many artists, and you know, we as youth we listen to everything, you know. You can remember, you know, back then you had cassettes and CDs and records. You know, now you have iPod, where you can fit thousands of music on it. Now, I can tell you, to how the human brain stay, you know, with the nature of the human brain, everything that goes through your ears will impact the way you make music. Whether it want to be consciously or unconsciously, it is going to impact. So, for me to list out 5,000 artists right now is very tough, you know, but a lot of reggae artists, R&B artists, gospel artists, hip-hop artists, you know what I mean, rock and roll, blues, R&B, you know what I mean, jazz, all different genre of music up in the craniums of reggae artists. Yeah man.
So thank you very much. Now you and the Zing Fans Redemption have to prepare for the show, so we are all looking forward to see the stage show tonight. So thank you very much, and see you later for the next press conferences.